So in this video, I'm going to show how you can use the Android Studio to create services. So, and then how are we going to run the services using our code? So we are starting from the example app that we just created from the previous video. Okay. So next, so first to create services, we can create a file, new, okay. Scroll down, you can see that there is a services selection. Okay, so in this case, we just simply create a services like this. All right, so we are going to give a name called random number. So the goal of this service is to use tools to show some random number. Okay, so to save the time, I have already copied the code from the canvas. So you can feel free to download it. Just make sure that when you import the code here, don't forget to change the package. Okay, so after we copy the code, okay, I forgot my parentheses. Okay, so now we have already created services. So basically, we need to see that whenever we create a new component, it must be registered in the manifest file. So if we use the Android Studio to create a service for us, it will automatically register these components in the manifest file. So we can see that random number services has been correctly registered in the manifest file. Okay, so now we already have random number services, which when we click start the services, it's going to send out use a toast to show a random number and then sleep for 1 second and show another one, right? The reason why we need to use this kind of handler post is because services is not supposed to have UI. So in order to for the services to show some UI changes, we have to use the looper. So, but that's not the focus of the this part of the courses. Okay. So now we go back to our main activities, and then we switch to our UI by clicking at the icons close to the class, right? So here we go back to our XML files. We want to add another button to direct us to go to a new activity, and in that new activity we are going to show the services. Okay, so the way to do that would be that first, let's create a third button, right? So let's do this. Okay, again, just use wrap. That's the most easy one. And then we say, okay, we want to say two services. Okay. All right, now we have basically create a new buttons, right? But after that, we still need a new service for us to go to ourselves. So the way to do that would be that we file, new, and then here we have activity, right? So for us, we just need a new empty basic activity, empty activity here, right? Okay. So here is the, let's name it service activity. So the goal for this new activity is just to have some button to start the services. Okay. So let's click finish. So again, the Android Studio is going to create services and associate these services with the XML file, right? So basically that's through the API set content view, right? And then we can click here, go to the activity services. So we can see that, okay, basically nothing here, only have a simple constraint layout, right? So we don't want constraint layout. So the way we are going to do the same thing. We change this layout, okay? And when we change to the linear layout, oh, this will be automatically. Okay. Right, so we're going to do the same thing, like gravity center. Okay, and we just need one button. We're going to do that is to start service. Okay. Okay, so we have the second button, and then when we have this second button, we want to start services. Okay, so now let's create a method handler for it, right? So for this second services, we want to say on start service. So this method hasn't been created yet. So a red bar will pop up. So we can just click here and then it automatically generate the method template for us. And the way for us to do that is like, so remember to start services, we need to create an intent, basically using the inter-component communication. So the intent. Okay, so every time when you type a new class, when it is not imported, Android Studio is going to show up some prompt, right? You can just accept this prompt to easily import it, right? Okay. Typically, the first parameter is this, and then we say random number services dot class. Okay. So this intent indicate that we are going to start specific services. Okay. And invoke API start service intent. Okay. So this means that when we click this button, we are going to start the random number services. Now go back to our main activity, right? So remember that we have the button that is going to direct us to the second activity, and then in that second activity we have the button to start the services. But here we need to implement the method handler to show us to go to the services. So let's create the method again, right? And then here generate one. Okay, so in these cases we need to define another intent. It's going to show us to go to the service activity, right? Okay, so this time we invoke the start activities, and then it's going to show us that. Okay, now let's redeploy it. Cool. Now this has been correctly deployed. Now let's open it. So click true, false. That's something that we have already implemented before. Okay. Now let's click the two services. See, we switch to another UI, right? So this is how you can see the activity switching. When we click this, we're going to see that the random number service is going to generate random number and then use the total, so you can see the changing of the number. Every time when you show it, you will sleep for 1 second and then show it again. Okay. When you click back to go back to the main activity. Okay, so this is how you create the services.